Hello, and welcome to Fat Kings Friday for February 27th. I am Andrew, VSG Spike.
Hello, and I'm VSG Warrior, and we're having a very special edition of Fat Kings Thursday, Friday/Friday show. Anyway, we're two big dudes chewing the fat, trying to get lean. What is on the menu tonight, Andrew?
Walter, tonight is going to include a special sweaty family recipe, as nobody
Ooh.
can resist my sweaty balls.
Ooh, I love sweaty balls. That sounds delicious.
I can't do it anymore.
We're doing our NPR voices to try to kill time, because our guest tonight is he's stuck on the Long Island Expressway. He's trying to get over to the show tonight, and so we're just trying to vamp here, people, until we can get our tiger out of its cage. So, so in the meantime, we're going to talk about the history of beer. Take it away, Andrew.
Oh my God! So yes, one gastric tiger is having some technical difficulties. So our originally scheduled program is now just going to be two dudes that don't know what the fuck to talk about tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about about a minute away from pulling out my Family Guy puppets and just doing a freaking show.
Well, you did try to bring out the variety show with the...
Yeah, we're going to give it... Oh,
shit!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Our special guest has arrived. It is Scott, Gastric Tiger, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on? Scott, how are you? Can you hear us? Oh, this is going to be a good one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's signing. Does anyone speak sign language?
We can hear you. We can hear you fumbling.
You look
All right.
like... There you go.
There we go. I can hear you now.
All right. So
awesome. We only had to riff for like what, 2.5 minutes. Sweet.
No, man, I had the piano ready. I was gonna get my Family Guy puppets. So let me just give them a proper introduction. Scott has been in the community for a good little while now. He's an RNY guy, which is rare in this community for a man. It's rare enough to be a man. And he's been a supporter of mine since pretty much the beginning. He's one of the first veterans. Sorry, I kind of still have my NPR voice on, but so he's been one of my big supporters, and I really do appreciate him. And so, what does he lose now? 160 pounds, Scott? Like over that, somewhere around there?
Yeah, I started out at 380, and back in November I got down to 220, and pretty much haven't gone much anywhere from there. But yeah, 160 pretty much overall.
That's pretty impressive, brother. That's something.
Yeah.
Now, when approximately did you hit goal?
Back in November, it was just a little over a year out is when I hit goal.
Okay.
So my surgery date is October 28th. So it was about 2 weeks into November when I hit goal.
Very nice. Very nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
So now, you had what? Can I just ask you, like, just getting into the RNY
Sure.
aspect of it, because I don't think we actually hear enough about the RNY. I mean, there's a lot of sleepers on the YouTubes. So can you tell me? Can you tell me why you went with the RNY as opposed to another surgery?
Well, I'd say the main reason was it was covered by insurance.
That's always a plus.
Yeah. So my insurance gave me two choices. I could either do RNY or I could do lap band. And lap band was not an option in my opinion for me. Actually, it's interesting because both my mother and my two aunts have lap band. So I grew up watching them go through the process, and realize that what they went through is not what I wanted to go through.
So did they have any complications, or what was the issues?
Well, the thing about it, it's just a completely different beast. The lap band, even at years out, and my mom is 10 years plus post-op. and she can't eat like a normal person. A part of that's her fault and her eating habits, but part of that is also just you know, the lap band works by making a very small hole, and what you eat has to be able to go through that hole. And so she can't eat anything with skins. Most vegetables are out the window for her.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, this is years out. So, and that's that's the way for both my aunts also. It's very different. So it's a very restrictive surgery, whereas like the sleeve and the bypass, we have a little bit of malabsorptive too that helps us along. So.
No, that makes sense. It was funny is you mentioned that kind of the struggles even this far out with the lap band. I actually have a coworker of mine who I didn't find out until after my surgery. Who she had a procedure several years prior at the same place that I went to, but she had the lap band just a couple of months ago. They basically had to release it. Now she's almost as if she never had the band at all. And I said, well, is this something that you're going to be able to fix or, have reset later? She's like, nope, I'm done. I'm like, well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it does. And I know a lot of people who have had lap band, people who have had revisions like Sarah Harry Draco girl in the community. Mm-hmm. She can tell you some of the crazy things that go on with a lap band. And it really is, I mean, if you can do it, if you can actually make yourself do it, props to you, and you're amazing. But for most people, it's just not a very fun life after you have surgery.
I mean, obviously, people get a little bit edgy when you start to poo-poo any of the major surgeries, but that's just your experience, and and that's
right.
Just,
yeah.
I for one, I kind of felt similar. In regards to that too, and I noticed as I was doing my research that there were so many people who had revisions from a lap band.
Yeah.
So it just and it just the sleeve was more of a fit for me. But again, right. But can I ask you, do you dump it all? Because I know that's a famous thing with the RNY.
I dump. My version of dumping for the most part is. It's like a really strong sedative. So what happens is if I eat something I shouldn't and it is going to make me dump, what happens is I will go to sleep within 30 minutes. And I'll be asleep for a couple hours.
Wow, so it's kind of like sex in a sense.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, exactly. The good feelings and then like completely knocks you out. Exactly.
So does that go for like just sugary type foods or?
Really fats are what does it more than sugars for me. Really fatty foods. And I found it to be a good deterrent because it only, I do cheat. I'm far enough out that, if I want something, I'm going to have it, but I make sure, it's like alcohol for me in lots of ways because I have to be somewhere where it's safe for me to be able to lay down somewhere for a while after I've partaken.
That makes sense.
So now you say with alcohol that happens to you as well. You get that kind of sleepy feeling or?
Well, I mean, alcohol is a completely different beast post-op than it was pre-op. It's like a hard drug in the way it hits your system, especially for RNY. And so you have to be real careful with it. And it makes it to where it's just a really strong, hits you sort of high, and then it dwindles pretty quick.
Yeah, we obviously our brothers and sisters over on the 50 Shades of Maintenance, they did a show last night about alcohol, and
right.
Obviously there's some differences with the pyloric valve and everything, and you guys get hit with the liquor really quickly, and it's it's sort of a more dangerous thing, I think, for the RNY patient than it would be for a sleever. But
yeah.
so so just staying on the topic of alcohol, because it seems to be the soup du jour. How long did it take you before you drank? I mean, were you a big drinker before? You seem like a wild and crazy guy, Scott. So.
Right. Yeah, I'm a wild and crazy guy.
Wild and crazy guy.
Yeah. So, well, I had my years in college where I drank pretty heavily because I was a frat boy. But for the most part, after college, I drank maybe once a week, once every couple weeks, and not heavily, like one drink. Because, when you're a big guy, it takes a lot for you to feel anything when it comes to alcohol. So, I could, if I really wanted to get drunk, it would take a 6-pack, easy. And now, if I drink a couple of beers, I start feeling it pretty strongly. So yeah, I mean, I used to drink not very much, and I probably do drink more now because it's a good feeling without much consequences. Because you don't feel a hangover. The feeling goes away really quick. So within an hour or two, you feel like you've not drank at all.
It's like a superpower now.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a WLS superpower.
I was talking with Melly May on her video she just posted, and she was talking about drinking a little bit, and I was kind of the same way. And I said, yeah, it's kind of like this, superpower. But then, especially for like her and I and Walter and people who are still kind of in the midst of losing. You really have to be even more mindful of it because you're still trying to lose a lot, and especially for me, being a beer guy, that can be a lot of added carbs that you just don't, need. Right. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and as long as you're, and if you're still tracking and you're still in that phase, like I said, tracking helps a lot in keeping you honest because you'll actually see how many calories you're taking in, and you realize, wow, I don't really want to take in that many calories. So.
Right.
Yeah. So, how far out were you from surgery before you had your first drink?
I was about 2 months out when I had my first drink.
Oh, you devil, Scott!
I know. Well, there's a German festival in a town close by us where they have mulled wine. And it was right around Christmas time, and so I had a glass of that while I was, shopping with my wife at this German Christkindl Fest. And it's a wine town. It's Norman, Missouri. Wonderful wine from that city. But anyway, yeah, I had a glass there, and I think the next time I had anything after that was New Year's because we had people at our house and I had a little bit then. And I didn't drink a whole lot after that until I went to WSFA.
No, that seems to be...
Which was in April.
Yeah, that seems to be the death knell, and I think that's going to be the first time I actually... Well, if I'm going to drink at WSFA, whatever, I'm going to do a little test run prior to that, to see how my sea legs hold up. But yeah, I mean, I am going to be mindful of it, though. I'm sorry, Scott, to cut you off, but I need to talk about me after a little while. I get a little bored.
Certainly, yeah. I mean,
I mean, come on. I mean, no, I'm only kidding. But the thing I am, obviously worried about is just overdoing it. So you just got to take it slow. But do you find this idea of transfer addictions to have any validity? Do you feel like there's anything like?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is it's a real strong possibility for people if you're not being mindful. I think for a little while there, I got to where I was personally drinking more nights than I was not drinking. And it really it's easy to slip into because it is it's very enjoyable and there are very few consequences. I mean, in the short term. So it's one of those things where I would say, yeah, it's a strong possibility for people and something you have to be very mindful about.
That makes perfect sense, especially like you said, with the feeling that you can get from it right away. It's just, it becomes, I mean, it becomes addicting. It can be something like you enjoy it so much, and you have there's very little downside to it immediately. So you're like, well, hell yeah, why not? So
exactly.
Now, if anybody has any questions for Scott, I know I put it out there, but on the chat bar, feel free to pop in some questions here. Just to go through something recent, Jennifer Bleacher says, David says hi, Scott. And
hello, David.
Was asking if you're going to join her for the Des Moines Color Run.
I want to do that. I still have a few things. I have a couple of weddings that I'm going to be participating in, not personally, but family situations where I'm going to have to be part of, and I'm not sure if that's going to interfere with the color run at this point in time, but I really do need to look at my calendar. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my life here recently that has been sort of all-consuming. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I meant to. I don't know how much of that you want to talk about, but I think it's important because you're going through, a difficult time with the family. There's some illness in your family. I don't know how much you want to talk about, but you made it pretty public on Facebook and stuff.
Right. I am an open book, Walt.
Okay. So basically, I believe it's your father-in-law who's very ill.
Yes.
So if you want to just elaborate on how do you keep maintenance up when you have so many different kind of family issues or things like that, if you want to talk about that.
Sure, yeah. Well, my father-in-law has been battling colon cancer for 7 years now, and he's gone through multiple surgeries where they've cut out parts of his organs. They've done situations where they've filled his abdominal sac with chemo and just trying to kill whatever they can. And I mean, this guy, he was a Marine. Well, is a Marine. You never are not a Marine after you are a Marine.
Yep, just like
once and always.
Semper Fi.
Exactly. So this guy, he's like a real life superhero. I mean, the year that he found out he had cancer, he ran 2 marathons.
Wow.
And exactly. So I mean, the only thing that really hampered him was he realized that his times weren't right, and he was having a little bit of trouble breathing. That's how he figured out he had cancer.
Unbelievable.
So anyway, he in the last year he's gone downhill very quickly, and the doctors don't have anything they can do for him except for just manage his pain. So my wife and I have been spending a lot of time out of town with him and with our family, just taking care of business and taking care of family. And it is tough when you're traveling that much to really count your calories and stick on plan. I sort of take more of a holistic view of things at this point in time. My weight fluctuates anywhere from 220 to 230, and really there's very little I can do at this point unless I really punish myself to get it to go any lower than that, and really very little that I do makes it go above that. And really it's pretty self-regulating at this point in time. I mean, in that first year you build in some habits that you just stick with, and they're just part of your life. So, once you have those habits in place, unless you start really deviating strongly from those habits, you pretty much self-regulate.
Well, that makes sense because, I mean, I even see it with, myself on a day-to-day basis. Once you've gotten into a routine of,
certain foods that you like, and what's good, what's better for you, what's not. You get into a positive routine to where you still track, but a lot of times you're almost tracking similar things. It might just be a different Quest bar or a different flavor of yogurt,
Right.
but a lot of the core things are still the same. So it does make it easy to know, well, this amount of food in a day, I feel fine. I have no, I don't feel hungry, and I get the right amount of, my macros. So all that's
Right.
really well covered.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I at this point I don't really freak out if my weight goes, because I know it's going to go back down. As long as I stick to getting the water in, and pretty much I eat the same thing every day. I have for breakfast, I normally have a Quest bar or some yogurt with protein in it. And then at lunch, normally I have either some tuna or some jerky. And then for dinner, I have whatever Mrs. Tiger fixes for me. And normally it's healthy. So
So now you mentioned a missus. How long have you been married, Scott?
I've been married for almost 11 years now.
Now,
Nice.
how does she react to your wonderful transformation?
She's been my biggest cheerleader and my supporter the whole way through. She's lost about 35 pounds herself through the whole process, and she goes to the gym with me. She eats more like a WLSer than a normie these days. And so she's amazing. I feel like a really lucky guy to have her.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always loved about you, Scott. Is you've always been sort of even keel, and you seem like you have a very strong relationship, and you're able to weather the storm, because in this community it happens a lot. There's a lot of feels and things that go on, and it can be very difficult to maintain a relationship. I think Andrew's a good example of that too.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I definitely try. She, and she's followed along, and she's got her own, she's not all too active, but she has her own and I wouldn't say WLS because she's looking at it at some point down the road. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
you definitely need that kind of person, and it's, I can see in a lot of situations, seeing other people, that it definitely can test relationships. If it's not strong, you're going to find out quickly. So.
Yeah. Well, and even if it is strong, there are things that come up that are tough, and I think as people, we learn to either grow together or we learn to grow apart, and that just becomes a way of dealing with relationships. I've been with Bridget. I met her when I was 16 and she was 14, so
Oh, wow.
we've been together forever. We grew up together. That's part of why her my father-in-law dying is such a big deal for me, because for the better part of my life, he's been a second dad to me. I grew up in his house. My high school years were spent at his dinner table listening to his corny jokes.
Yeah, I mean, I lost my father, within the last 6 months, so I can understand, that. So,
Yeah.
So do you find yourself like in any emotional type eating because of the situation, or are you able to?
I have some, and part of it is, my mother-in-law is an amazing cook, so most of the time on the weekends, I sort of give myself a little bit of leeway to just eat the family food, so to speak. And there have been times when I've given myself permission to eat things that I wouldn't have eaten otherwise because I was upset. But like I said, I give myself that permission because I know that my weight it fluctuates normally, And I mean, that's just the normal way, people live. Normies. They, have, they gain 5 pounds, they lose 5 pounds. It's, but they sort of keep within a certain range. And I've sort of found that nice happy medium where I don't beat myself up over it.
Yeah, you talked about staying within that 220 to 230, and then and that's great, because to be able to stay within that range, somewhat of a range, and I'm good anywhere between here. If I start to creep up at closer to 230, well then you hammer back down, but
exactly.
you don't restrict yourself. You don't say I'm going to be 220, and oh fuck, if I'm 221, then all hands on deck. So it's you still get the opportunity to live. You're not letting the scale dictate everything.
Right, exactly. Well, and I think, I would love to lose a little bit more weight myself, and I think, that's the way normies are too. Most normies would like to lose another 10 or 20 pounds. I mean, if you talk to anybody, that's just about the way they are. But, I probably could make it happen, but like I said, I'd have to really punish myself to do it. I'd have to spend, a couple hours in the gym every night, and I'd have to restrict my calories to 800 to 1,000 calories. And at this point in time, I have other goals in my life and other things going on where it's not worth it.
Right, because I'm sure at this point, with the weight that you're at, I'm sure health-wise, I'm sure I'm sure you're doing well health-wise. Your weight and size is no longer a factor like it once would have been. So you're at a good, healthy range that sure. Of course, if you were down like 205, 210, sure, that'd be awesome. But it's not like 220 to 230 is the end of the world. It's all right. I'm good here. It's
exactly.
It's you're good here, and your doctor thinks that you're good there. When you're within that, then that's healthy. That's healthy mentally, not just physically.
How often do you work out, Scott? Do you go to the gym every day or every other day?
I've gotten to the point where with life situations where they are, I'm good making it to the gym 2 or 3 days a week at the most, because at least 3 days of the week I'm not where I can be at a gym. Normally on the weekends I try to do something physical like going on a walk, as long as it's not like, freezing balls cold outside.
Right.
Balls.
Balls. Yeah. Here in the Midwest,
we had to get at least one pair of balls on the show.
That's right. Absolutely. So, but I try to get to the gym at least one night a week. I've gotten to where the last couple weeks that's even become difficult because of this last week my car exploded. That was sort of a crazy thing. So I'm in the process of trying to find a new car and been driving around trying to find that. And
are you on like witness protection? Is this the mafia trying to kill you? Your car exploded?
No. Actually, it was a cat. There was a giant puddle under my car where the power steering went out. Now I'm glad I was in my driveway when this happened, because like the steering wheel is completely locked up now. So, but normally I do most of my own mechanic work, but this one there's just it's no hope for this car. It needs to go to the graveyard.
It's going to the scrapyard. So
at this point.
Andrew, do we have any questions? Because I'm having a little trouble with the...
No, that's fine. Not too many questions right now. A lot of people are chiming in on about transfer addictions. It's pretty cool because they're talking about, like, a little bit of emotional eating, but talking about, Jim Haney's on here talking about transfer addictions, and everyone's kind of chiming in. It's great conversation. It's between Jim, Jennifer Bleacher, Jennifer Ricketts is on watching.
Are there any flame wars going on?
No flame wars. I think everyone's in pretty
behaving?
Yeah, they're behaving. All is well in the kingdom.
Oh, good. Okay.
But I do want to give a shout out though to Island Sneezer. Just tuned in, my first live show in the WLS community.
Woo.
Fellas, we're popping some cherries.
All right. That's all right. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Welcome aboard.
So, but no, nothing as far as questions. Everyone's having their own conversation. They're probably just listening to us, but then paying attention to everybody else in the community. One question I did have, because I mean Jennifer mentioned the color run. So, and this is something I keep thinking about myself because I did it once, but I enjoyed it. Do you find yourself doing like 5Ks and runs and stuff like that every so often?
Yeah, I mean, before it got like winter time,
Sure.
I did a zombie run for a 5K, and I did sort of. I'm sure you know about this, the Tough Mudder.
Oh yeah, you did that?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, he had a video on it too.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
yeah.
Shit, I'll have to go check that out.
Last October I did the Tough Mudder here in Missouri, and that was a beast.
Yeah, because that was no joke. That's not just a 5K. That's a bit longer and a bit more intense.
Yeah, it's pretty much a half marathon. It's 12 miles.
Yeah, I remember.
And here in Missouri, it was through thick mud, and it was really cold. So.
Shit, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Dude, that's cool because I mean, I find myself, especially when I'm going to the gym myself, a lot of times I do start off with a fair amount of cardio before I go into weights and stuff. But I'm like, and I did this a couple years ago when I started really getting into trying to lose weight. I used to think I hated it, and I still sometimes feel like I should hate it, but I actually actually enjoy walking. Maybe not necessarily running just yet. I still need to lose a bit more, but I feel like I'm still, I enjoy stuff like that. So I see that stuff like the color runs and the zombie runs and Warrior Dash and all that stuff, and I'm like, yeah, that shit looks like fun.
Yeah, and when I first started running and started the C2 5K program, I think I was 270 or 280 pounds. So, and really, I needed to get down to about that weight, or it starts getting really hard on your knees. But when I did it then, the good thing about C2 5K too is that it makes you go to the gym at least 3 days a week. It makes it a habit. So, because you're on an every other day basis when it comes to running. So if you need to get into a habit of going to the gym, C2 5K is a great way to get into that habit.
So
awesome.
I just noticed that Jennifer Bleacher wanted to ask you how long it took, the Tough Mudder.
How long it took? I think I got the whole thing done in 4.5 hours.
Holy shit.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of that was waiting at stations because you sort of get to the point where you get to another event and you have to wait for people to get through the event before you have a shot at it. And so, probably a good hour of that was spent just waiting at events and helping other people through the events.
So it was a natural spot to rest, essentially.
Yeah.
Which sometimes is a good thing, but sometimes can be a real bitch then when you wait for that long, and then you pick right back up, it's starting to run again, and then like everything's gone cold. So
yeah.
So
and since you're covered in water pretty much from the very start.
Yeah, that's
yeah, exactly. The cold and the mud was the toughest part because just finishing and getting through it. Because you're going through, I have a newborn respect for soldiers that went through the European campaign during World War II. Because, to be able to march in mud day in and day out for months, I can't even imagine what that had to be like.
Yeah, it really is something. And you know, you think about World War I and the trenches and the mud like that too.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. It's pretty crazy. I just want to say that Pete Sleeverocker, who we all know is like Mr. America himself, he says that he thinks you're a superhero after doing the Tough Mudder. So just want to let you know that. Also, I'm going to paraphrase Phil, but he thinks you're very fit and you're fine at any altitude. I think he thinks you're fine. I think that's what he said, right?
Yeah, I think you're talking about how you seem to fare well even when you were working out up in the high altitude. So you must be doing something right.
Now tell me what that was like when you just to ski with Jedi Master Olsen. Did you go skiing with Phil? Was that what? Yeah, I know you guys got together recently.
Yeah, we went up into the mountains and did some skiing. I did a lot of falling, is what I did in the mountains. So you know that picture of like a snowman rolling down a hill and a big. I thought, for the most part, I felt like that was me. I could turn left like a boss on skis.
Right.
I could not turn right to save my life.
I just want to know how all you fat people are skiing. I've never skied in my life. I wouldn't be near a set of skis. I would cause an avalanche. I would be so worried.
And even though I was falling a lot, it was a blast. It was so much fun. I'd go again in a heartbeat.
No, and that does look like a good time. That's, a few things that at least for myself, I know others, but there's things you do look forward to once you get skinnier that you want to go ahead and do that is going to be easier. Skiing and going out. Like to me, I look forward to going back out to Ohio and visiting with folks and going buzzing around on jet skis out on Lake Erie and not have to worry about.
Yeah.
I'm one person that one person weighs almost as much as the 3-person limit that it calls for, and not have to worry about crap like that. It will be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
I know. It's.
Sorry, I'm going to cut you off. I'm just looking forward to being able to put on my socks, or if I drop something, being able to pick it up and not just have to walk away. So I'm really looking forward to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds exciting. Extreme sock putting on. So do you have any advice for any newbies? We have a couple of newbies who are, in the audience, I think.
Mm-hmm.
As far as advice goes, I would say stick with your surgeon's rules as long as you can. And take do as well as you can in that first year, because you really do have a golden opportunity, a window in which everything's clicking for you, your body is responding to you, doing exactly what you want it to do. So take advantage of it. Hit the gym as much as you can, get in as much exercise as possible, and just take advantage of that time when you can eat very little and still be satisfied, because that goes away over time.
Now, are there any rules that now that you've been kind of far out that you've relaxed? I know a lot of people, drinking and eating. Do you eat and drink at the same time, or?
I still try to not eat and drink at the same time. But I do eat more carbs now than I used to. I've let things like pasta come back in, and some candies even. We bought some really good chocolates over the holidays that I let myself have 1 or 2 every couple of days. But that's the thing, as you get to the point where you realize moderation and how to live in that moderation, and your body just sort of does what it needs to do.
Now you made 2 videos. Actually, I think they were your last 2 videos. You haven't really updated in a while because of your family situation. But those two videos I think are really, really important videos, and I encourage everybody to go check them out. And when I get home later, I'll put them. I'll put the link in the description for everybody to check them out, because one was on body acceptance and the other was on comparison. So if you'd like, I'd like you to just kind of reiterate a little bit about those two topics, because I think they're really important.
Sure. The body acceptance thing came from a day where I realized that you can be really hard on yourself, and sometimes it just becomes a habit for us as big people to just beat ourselves up, and we say things to ourselves that we would never say to anyone else, even in the community or otherwise. And I came to a realization that, you know, I needed to be okay with who I was and with where I was in this journey. And sort of dovetailing on that is I realized that part of why I had gotten to the point where I wasn't happy is because I was starting to compare myself to other people. I mean, we have some awesome people.
Nope, we're breaking up a little bit.
And the norm, or what normal people would expect, and you know, I have to every day still say to myself, "You're not a failure. You know, you've done amazing, and you still continue to do amazing." But you know,
no, I was just going to say, you have to look in the mirror and say, "I'm good enough. I'm smart enough, and
gosh darn it,
people like
me." Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's very important that comparison is it's not a good thing. It really isn't. There's only, you know, what is it they say in the gym? The only person to compete against is the one in the mirror, or something like that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, and you know, I think about the things that I've been able to accomplish through this journey. I lost 160 pounds. I mean, very few, you know, present company excluded, very few people can say that.
180.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
And you know, and being able to do some of the physical things I've done, and I mean, you know, the skiing thing was a huge thing for me too, because growing up, my wife's family would go skiing, you know, every year, and they would invite me to come along, and I would say, no thanks, it's not my thing. And most of the reason why is if I fell out of my skis, you know, someone would have to pick me up to put me back into my skis, and I never felt comfortable doing that. But now it's just like, you know, when physical things come up, I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. That sounds like fun. Let's do it. So, you know, just to be able to be in that spot mentally now is really a huge deal. And I don't give myself enough credit for that.
No, and you really should. Now a little bit more about the body acceptance. How are you doing on that front? Like the mental game and body acceptance, that kind of stuff?
I think now that my body is leveled out and it isn't moving one way or the other, it's given me a chance to hit the brakes and start looking at myself for who I am now. Because for so long you don't, you know, after you start losing weight, you have no idea who that guy in the mirror is. I mean, because every couple of days he starts changing again. And so really being at this spot where things have leveled out for a couple of months now has really kind of given me perspective about who I am, and you know, realizing that you know, other guys in the community and girls have the same issue. You know, I think, you know, big shout out to you know, Lace. You know, everybody loves that girl, but
I wonder
the video
why.
she did,
I really don't understand.
I wonder why.
There's something about her. I can't put my finger in it, but there's something about it.
So, but she, you know, her video where she did her skin video, that she had up for just a brief amount of time, that affected me in in a very deep way, because I realized that someone as beautiful as her, and hands down, she is a gorgeous woman.
I don't think
See
so.
that she.
Yeah, but anyway.
Smart
No,
ass.
no.
I love you, Lace.
Yeah, but to realize that she has body issues, and that things, under the covers are way different than what you see on top.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Makes,
I saw that video too. I don't mean to cut you off, Scott, but I just made the joke, so I want to clarify that. That
Sure.
was amazing. That was an amazing video. It took a lot of courage on her part. She didn't have to do that, and she really, that took a lot of bravery. So kudos to her for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I don't think she realizes how deeply she affected some people by putting herself out there like that.
Yeah, no, she definitely affected me. I tell you that much.
Well, that's what Phil just said. It affected Walt deeply too.
Yeah.
I see you, Phil. She's become the gooch. Andrew, who said that? Was it Phil that said that? She's the gooch of the new Kings. We love you, Lacey. So, I don't know, Andrew. I feel like I'm hijacking. Go ahead, buddy.
No, it's fine. I mean, and I'm just listening. I mean, it makes a lot of sense too, because I mean, I'm still, I'm realizing certain things about my body even at this point that I'm still trying to learn and figure out. And
there's so many things about your body.
I know. Some hair in different places. my voice gets kind of funny sometimes. But no, it's weird because I mean, and I took a picture. I never even posted it today, but I took a picture in this polo shirt. I wore it to work. This is still like a size of polo shirt that I would wear even at my biggest. So I'm still wearing it. But at the same time, I've also tried to shrink it. So it's not like I'm just letting it as like a big comfort blanket. I'm trying to shrink it and still wear it, but it's still like really super big on me. So I'm trying to getting past that as well, and trying to I'm ready to start getting rid of certain clothes so I don't even have it as an option. So the body acceptance is something I think you have to go through throughout the entire process, because it's I think that's definitely a big part of the mental game that we all talk about.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to add that I think you look very attractive today, Andrew. No pressure or anything, but the ladies haven't said anything, but I don't know. I think you're standing out there. It's the white shirt against the pink palace whenever you're in the pink palace.
That's right. I know. It's the Argyle just makes it pop.
It does. Yeah.
Scott, do you have what kind of camera is that? Is that kind of like an old, like one of those spotlights? Because it looks like it looks like you're in Bohemian Rhapsody. I see a little silhouette.
I was gonna say powder.
Powder. Are you?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Jim Gaffigan on us.
Right. So,
no, but listen, I'm so glad you made it, because we thought we were gonna have to vamp. I plugged in my keyboard. I was gonna get the Family Guy puppets, so I'm so glad you're here.
He was stressing, and I was laughing the whole time. I'm like, dude, we're gonna be fine. He's like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? I don't know what to talk about. I'm like, we'll talk about whatever the hell we want. It doesn't matter.
The show must go on. Yeah. The show must go on. Listen, I do see a question. I'm sorry. Did you wanted to say something, Scott?
No. Oh. No. Go ahead.
No, I just see a question from Island Sneezer, and I'm not sure if that's a boy or a girl, but I'm going to say they. They say, I have at least 8 months before I have a surgery date. Any tips on what to do to maximize weight loss in the pre-op phase? I've been cutting back on calories and increasing exercise slowly. That seems like a good plan. Any tips?
Yeah. Well, if I'm going to talk about what you do pre-op, I'm going to leave it up to you, Walt, because you killed it.
I don't like to brag, but yes, I did kill it. I will give you that. 112 pounds pre-op. That was my.
Skippy, man.
I set the bar. I'm waiting for somebody to come along and beat me. That's what I'm waiting for. But I would just say that's a good start. I mean, try to just baby steps, Bob. that's I would say try to get rid of as much sugar as you can and get rid of the carbs as much as you can, and you're going to find that you'll get a lot less hungry. I might as well take this opportunity. I was just talking to my friend who I plugged on my channel, my friend Marvin, who's going through the process, and we had a similar discussion. I was just telling him the same kind of things, and he's slowly trying to do it. That's the only thing. You just can't just cut it off. You got to just step it down. Just take your time. You got 8 months and just live like you already have whatever surgery you're going to get, and then just try to get there as best you can. That's my advice. You got any advice, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, I just to kind of piggyback on that exactly. I mean, cutting the calories is the best way to start. Cutting the calories, slowly working on increasing your exercise, but then, like you said, start. And this is something I've been really trying to refocus on this week is refocusing on your macros. Not just watching the calories, but also, being more mindful of how much protein you're having, being mindful of the carbs that you're having. So, if you can start to try and focus on those on top of the calories, once you get to a comfortable place with the calories, add that on top of it, because then that's going to help you. Like you said, it's going to help you feel less hungry. You're gonna help yourself in the best way to lose weight now, so that way you're in even better shape post-op.
And I'm going to piggyback on your piggyback and say water, or water, or however you pronounce it, water.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you want to try to get as much as that going as you can, because you got to stay hydrated, and you need to have a friend in fluids.
Yeah, sip doesn't apply just yet. That's definitely post-op, but right now water for sure. So Jennifer has a question for Scott, because apparently TJ's advice scared the shit out of her. Any advice for people attending WLSFA for the first time?
Yeah, I need this.
Walter.
I need this too, because I'm actually I have to go to church every Sunday before.
So what was the question again, Andrew? You cut out for a second.
The question is there any advice for people who are attending WLSFA for the first time? I see a big old smile on his face.
Oh boy. I would say the biggest.
I guess any major conference for that matter, yeah.
Right, is don't be shy. I mean, that's my biggest suggestion is don't be shy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us have a tendency to think that we're not going to fit in, and I did too. I mean, before I went, I thought is anybody even going to talk to me? I don't really know anybody there personally. I haven't talked to anybody online, like in a one-on-one, and so, is anybody even going to, like, care that I'm there? Am I just going to sit in my room the whole time? And so what I say is, don't be shy. Go up and talk to people. If you see someone that is, especially, Jen, you know tons of people in this community. You have nothing to worry about. You know me. You're staying with someone that you know. Lots of people in this community that you've talked to on a personal basis. You're not going to have any problems. Everybody is very accepting in this community, and that's one of the coolest things about the way this community works. Everybody lets people in, but you have to put yourself out there. And so that's what I would say is the biggest thing about going to any sort of a conference is just put yourself out there, live it up, and all this stuff about alcohol and that sort of thing, that does enhance it, but there are lots of people who don't drink at all that go and are still part of the group. So, as far as, that sort of thing, you don't have to do a lot of the stuff that everybody does to fit in. Just go and be yourself.
Yeah, I think there's a song, you don't have to take your clothes off to have a good time.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Thank you. Ding, ding, ding.
Just drink some cherry wine.
Who was that? I couldn't think of who did that.
Oh, it was a one-hit wonder or whatever it was.
If anybody could call her, the fifth caller who could tell us, who can name that song, you'll win a I don't know what you'll win. You'll win a beer.
We'll win an 8x10 nude photo of Walter.
It's gonna have to be more than 8x10, man. So let me just ask you, Scott. So since we have you, I know.
Sure.
Can you tell us something? Give us an exclusive. Give us something that nobody knows about the gastric tiger. Wait, Andrew either has to fart, sneeze, or ask a question.
No, no farting, no sneezing.
Ah.
Sorry. Well, if I fart, you usually won't even notice it because I usually have silent but deadlies now at this point. So, but back to Island Sneezer though. They were just asking. I keep hearing WLSFA and Googled it, but I wasn't able to find anything. So they're curious what it is. So, I mean, there's a couple of them, WLSFA and OH. I know, Scott, you've been to a few, so firsthand, for those that don't know, what is WLSFA or OH or,
Sure.
stuff like that?
The WLSFA is the Weight Loss Surgery Foundation of America. It is a foundation that does a yearly meet and greet that's also a fundraiser for people who would like to get surgery, but their insurance does not cover it. So they put out grants to people to have weight loss surgery, and by allowing us to get together and pay a fee, we help actually fund people to get weight loss surgery. So that's what WLSFA is, and there are local branches, but the big one is normally in April, and that's a big get together of the whole country. Anybody who wants to come is invited.
And that's typically been in California in the past, hasn't it?
Last year it was in Florida.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, Tampa.
Years before that, it was in So years before that, it was in Las Vegas. I don't remember if this is the 5th or 6th on it, but it's been going on for a little while now.
Okay, so it bounces back and forth. Okay.
And OH, and OH is obesity help. Before, last year it was in California. This year it's going to be in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina, which is awesome because that's when they got at Siemens Medical Instruments out there. So absolutely. So we know the area really well, and are really looking forward to it. We know a lot of people out there.
Awesome. Yeah, that's because I know WLSFA, Walter's representing, but we're still trying to convince him to come to OH because that's going to be my first.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Something in me really wants to come. All of a sudden, I just want to go to OH now. I don't know what it is. I think I'm going to go. I don't know.
I think
Scott,
you're going to know what it is.
Scott, you're going to be there?
We already bought our tickets. Yeah, the Tigress and I are going to be there.
Oh, awesome! You're going to be at both. You're going to be at.
Yeah, we're going to be at both.
Oh, great! I look forward to that. That's going to be great. So you can be my wingman, Scott. I'm going to need you, Scott, to keep me in order, keep me in check. Just to make sure I don't go over the edge.
Then you'll be in rare form. You'll be in rare form by October for OH then.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
Yes. So yeah, I'll make sure you have what you need to have in your hand at all times at WLSFA, and I've got a bodyguard that's going to be making sure that I am under the legal limits myself. So
all right,
because the Tigress is going to be there at WLSFA with me. So,
oh, great. Now, speaking of the Tigress, is she involved in the community at all? Does she have a page? Does she get involved with any of that? I don't know. She's pretty much away, right?
She has a Facebook page where she sometimes is I've been talking to her a lot about doing cooking vids, or we really need to do another couple of vids sometime because it's been a long time since we've done that. But she doesn't have her own YouTube page or anything at this point.
Okay. So do we have any other questions, Andrew? Do we?
No real questions. Everyone's now plugging, and as well, Island Sneezer.
Yeah, it's a she, by the way.
She's it's a lady.
It's a lady. Hey.
Gets my Courvoisier, and it's a lady. I'm too much in the SNL mode. I'm still riding the wave after the 40th anniversary. So, but no, not a lot of questions. But everyone's right now. They're talking about because Island Sneezer and Shrinking Beanie. A few people are talking back and forth about checking out other channels, and because Jennifer's, she's shamelessly plugging Naked Truth because we don't do it enough on our show. So.
Oh yeah, we haven't plugged it at all. Yeah, I do feel bad. We usually have at least one Naked Truth plug.
Well, here it is. Go check out the Naked Truth.
There you go.
But
there you go.
But yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of, for Island Sneezer, for anybody who's really starting off new, there's so many, there's newer people, there's people, like Walter and myself and others that are, kind of really in the first few months of the post-op phase, and then you've got your veterans, Scott and Jim Haney. Well, Jim doesn't post any videos, so screw him. So, but Jennifer, there's a ton of folks out there. So you'll find people still posting videos throughout the entire process. And Jennifer, no need to apologize. It's all good. We know we love you.
I think Jim is about to make his week 300 debut, right? Week 300.
That's right. We told him he should make his first video as a week 300 update. Had the same shit I've had for probably the last 50 some odd weeks.
Yeah. I'm drinking Angry Balls and eating donuts.
Oh my God! I've seen so many people post about Angry Balls ever since he was on, and I bought a bottle of Fireball. I haven't touched it yet.
Yeah, I think he works for the company. He used us to make the stock rise. So I think we're done pretty much on questions, right?
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem to really be questions at all. We're good.
All right, cool. So before I go, I do want to get back to that, Scott. I want an exclusive. Give me something that I know the fans want to know, something intimate about Scott, something we would never hear on your videos. Anything, a hobby, anything. Is there something, give us an inside track on something that we wouldn't know about Scott.
Something you wouldn't know about me. I don't know. I've been an open book, so it's kind of hard for me to come up with anything in particular.
No ladies, no ladies' clothes, nothing at all. No scoop here.
No, nothing like that. I am, one of my little known facts is I actually went to 3 Junior Olympics as a kid for weightlifting.
Holy shit! That's a fucking cool fact. I like that.
Yeah.
I had to get one cursing. I haven't been cursing, so.
Yeah. So won bronze, silver, and gold the 3 years that I went.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think of a real quick snatch. Clean and jerk.
Clean and jerk. Right.
What did you compete in? Just.
So yeah, Olympic weightlifting. So the 2 different Olympic lifts, the snatch and the clean and jerk. You nailed it.
Right. Okay, I got it. All right, good. I was trying to make sure.
He practices those on a regular basis when he's not making videos.
Oh, you devil!
You left the door wide open.
All right, so I want to give you this opportunity, Scott. Is there anything you would like to say? Because when you were on The Naked Truth, I thought that Ryan's journey just did all the talking, and all I did was hear about spicy breasts and Ryan, and poor Scott was there, but I didn't hear anything. So the floor is yours, brother. If there's anything you'd like to say.
Sure. First thing I'd like to say is thank you guys for letting me on the Kings again. You guys really carry the torch for the new generation, and really your journey helps so many both new and old people because it helps us see what the journey is like from the very beginning. Keeps us motivated. Other than that, hey, life is good. So I'm at this point I'm enjoying my journey, and maintenance is great. You know, you don't have to freak out, and just
So on
be
that,
cool.
I'm sorry, dude. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that you know, just being cool with who you are and where you are is a great accomplishment.
So, well, thank you for that. Thank you very much for that, brother. And
So go ahead.
no, I just, I just wanted to piggyback on what you said for a moment because I'm actually starting to begin to get a sense of, with my close friend about to start the process, that the gratification that you do get as a, I'm not a veteran obviously, but just when you're a little bit ahead of someone and you know the process and it gives me it makes me smile on the inside when I know what he's going to be going through and what he's about to feel and how awesome he's going to feel, and it's just I get excited for that too. So it's nice, it's nice to think that in some way I have inspired people or affected somebody in any way. It's kind of cool. So, but you have done that for me, and again, and I also, as I was kidding around, but Ryan's Journey is also one of the first people that ever commented on my videos, and the two of you were very, very, very a big influence on my early journey, so I really do appreciate that. So, among others, obviously, the list would go on. All right, so I guess.
And so,
sorry, dude, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just open invitation, you guys. Anytime you need advice, anything like that, and open invitation to any of the other new people. The veterans in this community are great. Reach out to them. Take advantage of us, because we're there for you.
Yeah, we do appreciate it.
Real quick, couple quick questions to you people just jumping in real quick here before we go out. VSG Billy said, thanks, Walter. Appreciate you turning me on to the channel. He went back and watched all Fat Kings Fridays. So.
Oh, great.
And then VSG Davis, asking how long all three of us are out. So you said how far out? How far out, Scott?
I am.
Carry the
16
one.
months. Exactly, carry the one. So 16 months out at this point. 16, almost 17 months out.
Wow, sweet.
And I'm about 21, 22 weeks. I think 22 weeks, because my weeks usually my surgery was on a Tuesday, so at this point 22 weeks.
And I am about 14 weeks out, more ish. So about 3.5 months out, somewhere around there. So, getting on that real quick, I know we're going over, but we have some new people here, and I'd just like to ask this question because I think it's one of those questions that you always want to know when you're doing the process. Do you have any regrets, Scott?
Do I have any regrets? I think the biggest regret I have is consuming alcohol too early and realizing how enjoyable it is. So I would say stay away from that as long as possible.
Wow, I was not expecting that. A little controversy here. No, I mean, and it's a valid point. Do you feel that? Do you feel that it did it spiral you out of control? Did it affect your weight loss? Did it slow you down? Any reason why that's a regret? Was there a tranny involved? Give us a scoop.
Well, here's the deal. I don't feel like I lost as much as I wanted to, and it's always going to lurk in the back of my mind of drinking calories or consuming too many calories. Did I sabotage myself and not lose as much weight as I could have during my golden window?
Okay. Gotcha. No, it makes sense. So thanks a lot, man. I'm about to frickin' start drinking, and now you just dropped this on me. No, I think it's an important point to, I don't think anybody on 50 Shades was, encouraging it. I think people get a little weird. I think people get a little wacky. I mean, it tends to be, people. I think it's people who weren't really big drinkers to begin with, and I think they're afraid of that happening to them or something. You know, I think it's obviously something to be mindful of, but I think like they you know, like they said, just because you know you like to drink doesn't necessarily mean you have a problem. You just have to be honest with yourself. What was it? Was it the Oracle of Delphi? Know thyself. You have to know thyself. I like to be cerebral when you're on the phone, when you're on the show, doctor. When we have a doctor on the show, I like to throw in as much ancient Greece and Greek and Latin roots as I can. What are you a doctor of, Scott? By the way.
I'm actually not a doctor.
Oh,
he just plays one on TV.
Wait a minute. That's what you told me that night. What? So
yeah,
but you're a scientist, aren't you? A scientist, or is that?
I am a scientist.
Okay. And what is your field?
I work as a nuclear scientist. I work at a nuclear reactor as a research specialist.
With Homer Simpson?
Yeah. He's in the reactor. I know the guy. You know.
Oh, so you see, do you work for Mr. Burns and Smithers?
I work at a university, so I work. That's actually where I got my name from. I work at the University of Missouri, which is the Missouri Tigers.
There you go. Okay, cool.
Okay,
see?
nice.
That's another little known fact if people were keeping score at home.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So I guess we've gone over. I think we've covered everything. I just want to thank Scott again for being on the show. It was really great to have you. I really do appreciate you. And as I said, I've always been a big proponent of the veterans and everybody who helped me on the journey. And I'm just trying to pay it forward the way you guys did. So trying to keep the legacy going. Andrew, you got anything you want to add?
No, I agree. It was great having him on. Really gave me some insight as well as all the viewers because it like you said, don't be afraid to reach out to anybody here, whether they're 4 months out or 40 months out. Everybody has great advice, and they especially you see the journey and you see the progress of these people, and you know that they obviously must be doing something right. Obviously, we're not none of us are going to be perfect. We're going to have regrets, but you know what? We're learning through this process just as much as somebody who is just starting the journey. So I mean, there's always something to figure out, and it's mostly just figuring out about yourself. So on that philosophical kind of note, I think it's time to call it, and we appreciate everybody watching the show, and we will definitely be back next week with yours truly.
All right, gang.
Or not myself.
Oh, come on. All right, gang, so that's a wrap for tonight. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week, every Thursday night, Fat Geeks Friday, Thursday nights, live at 8. Don't forget to check out our other shows, our sister shows. We got 50 Shades of Maintenance, and that other, what's that show, the Naked Tooth?
Naked
something. Just ask Jennifer; she'll tell you all about it.
Just type in naked in the YouTube search bar.
By the way, do not type. But if you're on YouTube, type in Naked Truth. You're going to get some very interesting videos. By the way,
I told them for some of the people who are new watching, I said we would post a link to the channel in the description after the show.
Okay, we'll do that. One of us will do that.
Yeah.
Myself or Andrew will do that. All right, gang. So until next time, hail to the kings, baby.